My boys.
Hell yeah.
What is up, guys? Sorry for the late start. Welcome back to the All Games podcast, where we have Damian Rucci. He's
What's
back
up?
for round two. We had to have him on again.
Yes.
We did a great guest last time. It was a lot of fun, so we wanted to have him on for some more fun. Damian, what's going on, my man?
A lot, man. Glad to be back. Thank you guys for having me on again, man. Listen, that was a dope ass intro, and I'm not just being saying that because I was in it, you know. Nah, but it's great to be here. A lot's been going on. You know, the last year's been absolutely insanity. When I talked to you guys the last time, I think I just started hosting a show or two,
Yeah.
and now I'm hosting 10.
Tell
Yeah, man.
people who don't know who you are.
My name is Damian Rucci, and I'm a felon wanted in most cities. No, I'm kidding. I'm a poet, you know, an organizer, and I started this little thing called the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance, and it's been this working class poetry movement that started off being like 3 or 4 people. You remember the beginnings?
The super beginnings.
Super beginnings. This man right here, Mike, gave me a flyer in 2013. That was an advertisement for an open mic in Matawan at the Vegan Bakery.
Yeah, some
Right?
vegan ass bakery.
Vegan ass bakery. Like the only fat guy who's ever walked in there in my life was me. And that's what started me doing the open mics. But it was 2021 when I really started this thing. And it started off with I got offers to do 3 open mics. I had one open mic closed down on the train home from New Brunswick. I had this show called Chamber Cantos. It was horrible. And it was a good idea, great venue, but nobody showed up. It was too early. People were scared to go outside. So the venue itself closed down. I took a train home. And on that train, 3 places DM me. Do you want to host an open mic? And I said, yeah, to all of them, right? Saying one's going to be good. The other 2 are not. All 3 worked, and flash forward, here we are. You know, it's been a whirlwind. But yeah, that's it's been fun. So when I last talked to you guys, it was like in the infancy of all that.
Oh yeah.
You know?
It was like not even a fetus at that point.
No.
It's like an embryo of an idea.
I was so terrified, man, with the pandemic. I didn't think live shows were going to come back in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
There was like this whole worry of the new normal and shit like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess not.
Oh no, definitely not.
You know, but it's been a trip. You guys were there from the beginning. I'm always happy to be on here. I'm thankful you guys brought me on. You know,
Well, here's the thing. It's like you have a high level. I would categorize you as someone who has like a high level of social intelligence. You're someone who can get in a room with anyone, and you can get a conversation going. You can make the people in the room laugh. When you walk in a room, which is why you're good on stage, because I've seen you on stage. The reason why it works. A guy like you, a poet like you, someone with the charisma. When you go on stage, people listen. You automatically, when your voice lights up, you start preaching the words that you wrote. People, first of all, they're coming there to see you. They know you're there. But then when you actually go, you do prove that you are who the advertisement said you are. So when you walk up, they already know who it is. They know what's going down, and you have their attention because you have the way of the words. What do they call it? The
gift of gab.
The gift of the gab.
That's what my grandma would say.
But you know, a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people want to have that, but a lot of people don't have that. So
it's a skill set.
How would you, if someone asked you, hey, how do I get good at talking in public? How do I get good at public speaking? What would you tell them?
It's just like doing it a lot. You know what I mean? Here's the deal. Like, so at this point in the game, there's so many people who don't know me from my past life or know me before the poetry. They don't remember me when I was a musician. They don't remember those different things. And like, I also had terrible stage fright. I had a speech impediment, right? I was super shy. I would freak out talking to groups of people. That's how it started. And like the first several years I did this thing, I would bomb because I saw what was going on with poetry. I'm like, I don't want to be the old geezer in the bookstore with the turtleneck. You know what I mean? And 2, I don't want to be the slam kids crying about the trauma on stage, right? I was like, I want to do some working class, some avant-garde punk rock, bring that DIY aesthetic, right? But I didn't know how to do it yet. I didn't have the skill set to be able to pull that off. So the first several years of me doing this was just me dying on stage. I forget what comedian said it, but they said bombing on stage is like sucking 1,000 dicks in front of your mother. You know, it's horrible. It's not a good time. But it's just the skill set. Like even the last year, man, when I first, like a year ago today, I wasn't the performer I am now or the stage presence, nothing. But also I'm doing poetry shows 5 days a week, right? Like there's some months I do like 28 shows. And it's like, I'm on stage constantly doing it. So like anything else in this life, it's just a skill set that you begin to learn how to do, how to hold the room with silence, you know, all different kinds of things. There's all these different things that a lot of poets don't consider, but I do because I dabble in the other realms as well, and like really, you just got to start somewhere and you got to fail. That's the one thing people can't take that you got to lose, right? You're not going to lose forever, but you got to go up there and be like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing here. I'm practicing.
You know what, Damian? I wouldn't even call it a failure. I would call it a learning experience, because failure implies that you're not even going to try again. But when you go through a learning experience, it's something that you can use and move forward.
It's hard to rationalize that at the time, though.
Yeah,
especially
100%.
when it comes to like ego and things like that. Like
the ego is
I remember back in the day, doing these features at the Brighton bar, and like no one shows up. It's like my mom and like 3 people and my ex-girlfriend, and like you're performing, you look above their heads because you know, and like that quiet drive home when you don't do good. I thought you did good, and you're like crying to yourself in the passenger seat, right? But fortunately, I have this thing in me. It's called "fuck you, watch me" disorder, right?
What's that?
So when you tell me I can't do something, I got something wrong with me. It just really fuels me up, So when I first came on the scene, I didn't get embraced or loved by a lot of the community,
Good,
because they were a certain way and I had different views. So they weren't that welcoming. Some were, and those people I still honor, right? If you were good to me when I first started out, I'll always give you a spot at my shows. There were some people who talked hella shit, stopped me, didn't invite me to the party. And Cord Moreski, that's my brother I started with at Papa Ganache. I met him the night that you gave me the flyer, right?
Yeah.
So we made our own party, but there was a lot of, you get there and you swing, and sometimes you don't hit the ball. Most times you don't hit the ball.
Yeah.
But you realize that you're putting in reps, right? And the idea of the open mic, so there's featured performers, right? These are the show. Their names are on the flyers. You're coming out to see them, right? But then there's the open mic. And the open mic is the practice thing. Some people show up there thinking they're celebrities doing a 5-minute set at the open mic. But really it's practice, right? So like you get up there, you got 5 minutes, you're doing the thing, boom, right? And I was fortunate that at that same open mic, I met this comedian guy named John Murdoch. And John Murdoch was a comedian, and he wanted to mix poetry and comedy together. We tried. It just wasn't the time. I do that now. Poems and punchlines, it's been a thing. Any poetry show you go to in the state, you're going to see comedians there now. But I would go to New York City and open for this guy. It'd be me as a poet. I'm 21 years old. I'm not who I am now. I don't know how to talk to an audience. I'm doing poems about being heartbroken and like stupid shit, right? And I would bomb. People wouldn't even clap. And I'd get off stage and I'd be crying. And all sad. And like he'd be like, "This is boot camp, dude. Like, you're never gonna bomb like this again." And I did that a lot. So the problem is, like, I've always been like, okay, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it. Number one. Number two, I've always been like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And like, just like riding your bike, you fall off in the beginning, you scrape your knees. You're not gonna never ride a bicycle again because you scraped your knees. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
You gotta keep pedaling. So anybody who wants to get into it, man, you just gotta start. You gotta start, just do the thing, show up, and expect to do bad. Don't invite your girlfriend. That's the tip.
Why is that? Go into that.
You should go there alone, right? So a lot of guys make mistakes, comedy, poetry, whatever, that their first time on a stage, they invite their support system.
Yeah.
And that's pressure, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because now if you don't do good, which you probably won't do good because you're new at this, they're going to love you and support you no matter what, right? But you're going to eat yourself alive. So you go there alone. When I did your podcast last year, before that, I was going to quit poetry. Not quit it, but I was going to switch gears to stand-up comedy. So I started doing stand-up comedy open mics up in New York City, and I didn't tell nobody. I shot up there and I just did my thing, right? Because I didn't want nobody to see it. That's not for nobody else, that's for me.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And I was going up there doing the Broadway Comedy Club on a Sunday at 3:00 in front of 4 people. And the guy who has the key to the lights didn't show up for work. So it was dark. It was like pitch black in a room. And I'm with 4 comedians. I've never done stand-up comedy before. But that's what you do. And I did all these other little open mics. But I wouldn't want to bring somebody with me, right? Because it's cool to watch someone grow with you. But it's also cool to develop a skill in the shadows and then pull it out, right? So that's what I always say. Don't bring your girlfriend. Don't bring your friends.
Yeah, because even with that, because they are your support system. So even if you bomb, right, they will still tell you,
Yeah.
like because most of the time, I'm gonna say most of the time because I feel like you will have friends that will say it like it is, and those and those are the people that you want. But like 90% of the time, you're gonna have a support system that, regardless of how bad you did, are gonna be like, oh, it was great, it was fine, you did okay, stuff like that. But they won't. A lot of these people, they won't tell you it wasn't that good. This is what you could have done better. I was sitting, I was watching you. This is what you were doing. This is what you could have done better. And those are the people that you would want to bring. Those are the people that you want to come with you, because those are the people that will help you learn with everyone else that's already performing.
Sure, but you don't want that in the beginning either.
Oh, no, 100%.
I mean, because it gets to a point of like developing that skill set where like you have to learn to separate the art from the person.
Yeah.
Right. So like when if the crowd's not laughing or they're not applauding or they're not, that's not a statement about you. Right. You're delivering this thing. Right. So like there's some great comedians out there who, like, I guarantee you don't see it. I don't see it, but they drop horrible jokes all the time that just don't work. But how do they know it doesn't work? They have to pull it out. They have to practice it, right? You see the finished product, the comedy special, an hour, it's streamlined, it's beautiful, it's perfect. But how many open mics did that guy go to in the preceding months or whatever and just try out material? So that's why I always say, like, when I say don't bring your friends, I mean, like, it's a thing that you endeavor alone, right? Because the feelings you'll feel are ones that only you can feel. So when you do great, that's when you kill a room, when you get to the point where you could like kill a room, so poetry and comedy are different in some ways, but they are connected and they can work together. In poetry, silence is a destination. Okay. In comedy, silence is a tool, right? So in comedy, you'll see comedians, they'll be silent and they'll let that silence linger before in the middle of a punchline, doing a tag, doing different things. Bill Burr does it famously, Chappelle does it. But with poetry, silence is a destination, because when you're killing the room, and there's the times you kill it in a bar and it's loud and rowdy and they're going, right? I love those rooms. But there's also the times when there's this silence that's almost uncomfortable. And you realize that every single person in the entire room is not on their phones. They are gravitated towards your performance and they're looking at you, right? No one will understand unless they've experienced that, what that feels like. It's a beautiful thing. But on the same note, no one else experiences when you come out swinging and you don't connect. And that's a feeling that I think this is like these are solo professions. These are not professions, endeavors. So like you gotta, like, to me, it's like a solo thing. Like there's community. Obviously, we built this beautiful thing, the New Jersey Renaissance, but also like for you as the artist in the artistry, that's a you thing, because you're gonna win alone and you're gonna lose alone. And really just finding the homeostasis in the middle, like, we good, It's rough though, man. I've seen people get up there and do bad and never show up again. Gone. Disappeared.
A lot of people just give up, right?
Yeah.
Instagram's gone. Deleted. They took off, moved to New Mexico or something, It's rough.
It's even like us. Like a lot of people that we know in real life would not come on here because they're just very, a little camera shy. They're just not used to, being under that kind of pressure. Even if it's not like in public, even just being on camera, being possibly be viewed by billions of people, it's just not something. It's not for everyone, and a lot of people cannot handle that certain amount of pressure.
Yeah,
but it takes balls to really home in on that. It's more of a kind of it's a gift, but it's also like it can be a learned behavior.
What, right? Being cool in front of the cameras and stuff?
Yeah, because you can be a guy who's extremely nervous, but if you just force yourself to adapt, I mean, being adaptable is. I
think it's a skill set too, right? Because I've been doing podcasts for years, like going on podcasts, and my earlier podcast, man, like I was not cool being like knowing that I'd be live recorded. I'd be nervous. What if I say the wrong thing? Oh, this and that, right? And all those things. And it's at now, whatever. It is what it is. I'm me, take it. But like, I remember being on this podcast in Keyport. It was called You in the Office. And I was on there a lot. It was a cool setup. But one time they had this dude running for governor and their host dropped out. The other host, he was sick with something. So they called me like, Damian, we know you could talk. Can you fill in? I'm 24 years old, bro. And I was like in rough shape. Poaching the Port was doing good at the time. I was partying for like 2 days, and I show up. I'm pretty sure I got this man not elected for governor because I'm up there. I'm like lit. I'm trying to smoke weed with the dude on the podcast and like just being a mess, you know. But like I was cringing at my behavior on the podcast, even though I was fine, you know. But you got to realize how to separate that from itself. So it's like I've got a trick that I use in my life for everything. That instead of having regret, when I do something that's not taken back, right? It's done. Right? And so it is. I can't take it back, you know? Like whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm saying, right, on these platforms is my intent, what I want to do. I might slip up and say some stupid stuff. I might pull a Kanye and get this whole podcast canceled. You don't know, right? But the thing is this, like, you just got to separate that and like not worry about others' projections on you, right? Or perspectives. Like just people can't get over that. That's a lot. It's doing a lot of stuff, you know? Some people are easier to do, but some people never can. Oh, my bad. But like some people just can't like figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I know people they did the documentary for PBS, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming out in February. It's called Voices in the Garden.
What is that?
So PBS PBS the Earth for people, right? Sesame Street. They approached me and they're like, hey, we want to do this podcast documentary thing about you. And I was like, you shouldn't do it about me. You should do it about the NJ Poetry Renaissance. And they were like, what's that? And bro, like,
let me tell you,
by the grace of God, this was like in the infancy, I was like, it's gonna be this huge thing. And like it's grown tremendously since, right? But they did this thing and they followed us. They went to a lot of our readings. They were shooting video. We did a curated reading. It's a whole documentary about what we got going on. But I didn't tell nobody they were filming the documentary. I didn't tell nobody. I told
sometimes you just have to work in silence. You have to be a silent warrior.
My thing was this: if you didn't notice the dude with the perfect teeth and the huge camera in the back of the room, that's your mistake.
Yeah,
you know, you're not perspective. You know, like that's how. But people, if I would have told them that they were filming, they would have
felt
they would have acted different.
Yep, 100%.
You know, they'd have been more clean cut and like more exact, less sloppy. But sloppy is where the art comes in.
Yeah.
Right. The work is
it's authentic.
Yeah.
Authenticity.
Yeah. That's what it is. But if I would have said like, hey guys, they're filming this, like people would have been like just being different. And also other people would have came out. People who just wanted the attention of the camera.
Yeah. Right.
And like I knew that. And I was like, whatever, you know. So eventually the PBS dude was like, hey man, like, are you gonna tell anybody that we're doing this documentary? And I was like, oh yeah, you've been following us for like 6 months. It's about time. So finally I made an announcement, you know. But people get weird with things, and it's all about how they feel. Like people are so worried what other people think about them. It's like crazy, you know. Like I don't, you know. Obviously, I want people to like buy my books and support me and like.
Would you say you don't care what people think about you?
Not fully, no. Like there's inside Damian and outside Damian now.
What are those? What's the difference?
Outside Damian, so you know, I'm me and I learned how to be me and build a brand. I hate to use the word brand around who I am, but there's like, I'm out there, I'm doing the thing. Yeah, I want you to like my work, right? I want you to like the memes I post, right? All this shit I talk. But on the same note, when I'm inside my house, dude, and it's a me day, I could get the only person I care about, who thinks about me, is my grandma. That's it. Because my grandma thinks the sun still shines out of my ass and I'm a good boy, right? But I don't care about nothing. And the public version of me, like, you know, I want to be perceived well, you know, and I want to do good and do good things and all these things. But the private version of me that's at home and chilling, I don't give a damn if President Obama gets off a jet and like goes, I don't like you, you're fat. Like, doesn't bother me, you know. That's the separation I have. That's like the line. Because I watch people around me just get so obsessed with like what people perceive of them, how they think, how they, you know, like, and me, like there is like status and those different kinds of things and people looking at things. But on the same note, like I can't fit in. I never learned how to fit in with people. So I just had to learn how to make people fit in with me. You know,
that's some game right there.
Well, you ever seen The Departed with Jack Nicholson?
Of course.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. You know.
Well, that's a true dominant frame that you can develop. You know. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people, they just want others to like them. They want to be average, go about their day. No eyes on me. I just want to do my thing, go home, and just live a peaceful life. But some can't do that. Some need to be out in the open. Some need to try things, take risks, need to be out in the world, conquer things. There is something in the brain that just you got to go out and do things. You have to conquer the universe.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and there's even the crazy people that, like we were talking about before, with that want to have this specific perception of themselves, and I feel like that is a thing that's come about ever since it's pretty much sparked since like social media. Once Facebook blew up, MySpace blew up, Twitter blew up, everything, Instagram, especially Instagram, and now with like Vine, Musical.ly, TikTok, all these different things, everyone wants to be a performer of some sort, and they do it in a specific way where they're hyper focused on social media apps and only that, and they want to portray themselves as like a celebrity through their social media when they really aren't doing anything.
You gotta be who you are.
It's the death of celebrity too, because what we're seeing is like, we had celebrity, which was something that really started in the 20th century, right? The idea of the Elvises, the Rolling Stones, these kind of figures. Then you get the rise of the influencer, right? And that was the big thing. And now
we're still going through, I think.
But we're also seeing the rise of the micro influencer. That's the big thing. So a micro influencer is a new trend in social media where, like, instead of going to the people with millions of followers, you go to the people with the thousands, right? Because those people with thousands of followers, they have much more authentic engagement. And so, like, I get pitched shit all the time. Like, will you promote this? If it's something I know and they're doing like a charity thing, like
Diet Coke.
So I got a funny story though. I only took one sponsorship deal ever because I was really stoned, and an ice cream company hit me up and they're like, "Yo, will you do this like plug for ice cream? We're gonna ship you this thing," and it came in like an ice cream bag. I was a lot heavier back then, you know what I mean? And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want some ice cream," and I did that, and then they never sent me the fucking ice cream. So I'm never doing a brand deal again, but there's people come in. We're going on tour in January. It's called the Shape of Poetry to Come tour. And we actually have several sponsors because we just started emailing places and be like, "Hey, we're going on tour. This is how many people will see this, blah, blah, blah." And you'd be surprised. Like, we got sponsored by a cigarette company, which I did it just for fun. You know what I mean? That's funny as shit. They gave us 3 cartons of cigarettes.
Good, makes the night go by.
I don't smoke cigarettes. Well, I do at my shows, but But yeah, it's definitely seeing the social media trends is that everyone's a celebrity now.
Yeah, for the best for the worst.
It's the democratization of attention.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what's his name from The Incredibles? If everyone's special, then nobody is.
Well, that is a redeeming quality too, because what I'm seeing is a lot more of these channels popping up on the internet, and they're not these like super beautiful women or super ripped dudes. They're like normal people who just like. I saw one dude went viral. Do you see the tadpole video, the frog army?
I've heard about it. Yeah, I heard about
this
that.
Dude just started like saying, "Hey, there's a lot of tadpoles here. Like, I'm gonna start putting tadpoles in this thing." Just a weird dude, obviously, on the spectrum a little bit. And my man like made like millions of frogs, and that was like super viral. And like, I don't know. The internet's a weird thing, but without the internet, we couldn't do anything we're doing now. The social media.
100%.
Well, Mike and I, we talk about in our videos all the time. The world has changed in a big way. The internet has taken over the world. Now, there are certain pros to it, but there's also certain cons to it.
Yeah.
People are addicted to their phones. They're way into social media. It makes them emotional.
Sure.
You got all these, you got naked women online, pornography. Is that all view?
Hell yeah.
We all know what Damian supports. But it's like, things have changed. And how it affects some people is very interesting. It's like a whole big science experiment. For good or for worse, because some people can't handle certain things. Right.
Wait till deep fake technology gets a little bit better,
perfected
and cheapens.
Oh my god, yeah. You think catfishing is bad now? With that, it's gonna be. You can't even tell anything.
Yeah,
I've already gotten catfish. Like I ain't.
Back. Listen, whippersnapper. Back in my day, in MySpace, okay, like. Things are a little bit different now because I feel like social media has gotten a lot more. Okay, like obviously people always say like between MySpace and Facebook, what we lost was being able to decorate your profile and adding a personal touch. But I'd argue with status updates and things like that. Social media got a lot more personal.
Yeah.
Where like on MySpace, there was only like the weird sad girls posting about like emotional things on MySpace. Everybody else was just like,
everybody's emotional now.
you know, like, but that's also cool in a way. It does things where it's like people will see somebody express a thought, right? They're going through something happened to them, and it goes viral, right? Mad people react to it. And somebody goes, oh, wow, I thought I was the only person who felt this way or thought this way, right? That's good. It's also bad because it also like when you post something really bad on the internet that gets a lot of attention and you're like, wow, I didn't realize how many people agreed with my racist idea. You know what I mean? Like that's also the dangerous side of things, right?
Well, it's like you'd be surprised what kind of groups you can find.
Oh,
you can create groups. Like we have All Games Mindset Facebook group. Shout out. And but there's a lot of different weird holes you can go through, and it could mess you up. Right.
It definitely can, but just like anything, you know, if you meet the wrong people at a bar,
right,
and you get into it with them, and all of a sudden, like they're like, "Hey, they're like the cool ass dudes," and like we really like to build explosives. And you're like, "That's weird," but you know, there's weird guys, and like we like to put them in government facilities. You're like, "Wow," you know, but internet just amplifies that,
yeah,
right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You just bring the like-minded people together, and the algorithm itself is another weird thing, you know. But I don't know where this is going, but it's not going away.
It'll never go away.
Well, it's a science experiment. We don't know for sure. We don't know. The kids that are young now that are growing up on TikTok, we don't know what they're going to be like when they turn 20 to 30. Like this is going to be interesting. Now things are going to get weirder. I'm telling you that.
But they were saying it about us too, right? When I was growing up, because I grew up like I had dial-up internet.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, like the first thing everybody does when they get dial-up internet is porn. But the problem with dial-up internet is like it takes like 30 minutes to like buffer a nipple. You know, but that's like the most earned nipple ever. Nowadays,
kids, it's instant gratification.
Instant, anything. But it also has it's the normalization of a lot of things. But there was a lot more shame and guilt, I feel like, when I was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Where now people are like, you know, how many kids did I know growing up were super homophobic? Super homophobic.
Everybody's sucking dick now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with that. But then it turns out that they were just gay guys. But nowadays, my nephew, he's 16 years old, and his friends like, gay, like they'll still throw it around, right? Oh, you're gay, but they have gay friends and trans friends, and it's just like there's no big reveal or hiding that. It's much more like out in the open because of the internet.
I'll say this right now. I'm actually, you know, people ask me, Andrew, what do you think about LGBTQ and all that? I have a very interesting opinion on this, and Mike knows this. I think we need more gay guys because
I agree.
Because exactly, I think we need more because then I get more of the girls. Cool. Go suck your dick over there. Not fine. I please, sir.
Yeah.
Go try guys over there. Cool. On that, I support you. I'm gonna go take the girls over here. I'm gonna take care of everybody. Don't you worry. I'm gonna satisfy all of them. Every night of the week, I'll take care of you. Go do your thing and go satisfy the guys.
You're a god amongst men. You know that? You know what I mean? Like, yo, somebody get me a medal to pin on this dude's chest.
No, like, it's fine. I support everyone should do what they want. Good. We need more guys sucking dick over there. They're gonna come. So fine, and I'm gonna go with the girls. I'll take all the girls. That's fine.
Here's the problem. The problem with things is perspective, right? Everyone's like, oh, everybody's gay now. Everybody's trans now. Thing is this, though. No. People are just visible now, right? Because for a long time, the social etiquette of societies have changed. Where there were like periods of time in Europe, in the Middle East, and in the Mediterranean, where being gay wasn't just okay, it was an accepted part of things. And then there was like penetrator cultures where like it's cool to be the penetrator, but it's not cool to be the penetrated, right? Which is like the dumbest shit ever. Like, I'm not gay. I was fucking him. You know what I mean? Like, but then it's changed a lot. So like people forget about that. Right before Nazi Germany, the Weimar Republic, after World War I in Germany, there were like mad people being openly gay and openly trans in the fucking 30s because they thought that after World War I, that was the end of the world. And now like it was time for the young people. War's over. That was the war to end all wars.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, historically, when the pendulum swings, it swings. So the pendulum swung after World War I, like super liberal. And then Adolf Hitler was like, hey, how you guys doing? You know what I mean? Like bad times. But my point is like the idea that this is all new and all these gay people are just appearing. No. You know what I mean? They've always been
there.
Yeah. But unfortunately, a lot of them were disappeared, killed. And also like it'd be really cool. Like in Britain, there was an era in Britain where like you could be openly gay in like the 1700s or 1800s, and then it wasn't cool. And all about culture, the rise and things of that. But people have no perspective because our school system is fucking horrible. You don't learn shit.
A lot of indoctrination as well.
Yeah, but it just makes you a good factory worker. That's all they're indoctrinating. I didn't learn shit in school.
I don't remember anything really. I've some history, I guess. American history, I think, is valuable. You know, you don't want to.
Yeah, but that's even. You learn history. It's like this. It's like.
Depending on the perspective of the teacher that's teaching it.
That is true. I had some of the greatest teachers, and I had some of the worst.
Some are very. They're not biased, but some teachers are a little
hardcore.
Yeah.
And then the history books themselves are biased, right?
Well,
it's like this. This is what it is. It's
America
like
has not always been perfect.
No, definitely not. So it's like this. It's like boom, Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, and then it's like, oh yeah, and then we just stopped by Korea and Vietnam. We just said hello, right? And then 9/11, right? Like when I was living in Missouri, we hung out with a lot of youth out there, and they would tell me that the history books, you know how like our history books look at Vietnam and Korea, like it's like a little like excerpt on a page, like
it's
America,
like a 1 page.
It's like America just visited Korea and said hello, and really we just got our asses kicked in 2 wars back to back. In like the Midwest and parts of the South, that's how the Civil War is. It's like this like 2 little paragraph things. It was like, yeah, and then everybody got really upset, and then I remember getting in a fight with this kid. He's like, well, that's why like the South won, and that's why like it's different over here. I'm like, bro, the reason why it looks like this over here and you don't have industry is because you got wiped off the map. Burning Sherman, you know, you guys lost like really bad, you know, and these dudes were like tearing up, crying, like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
That's why the South will rise again. We're gonna do it again. I'm like, there's no South to do it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing. It's all about what you're taught. And most people after schooling, they don't learn anymore, at least in those areas. They don't learn about the history, English. That's why when people hear poetry, dude, cycling back, they're like, oh, poetry. They think it's some like quiet rhyming thing.
Yeah, from like English class.
Yeah, and that pissed me off because rhymes went out of popularity with Walt Whitman, and that was in 1870. And American poetry like doesn't rhyme because it's American. We do things different over here, right? But like people are like, oh, poetry rhymes. I'm like, how bad is schools? You know what I mean? And it's really that's why a lot of people are not turned off by literature and poetry. Yeah, because what we're exposed to in class is this bullshit, esoteric.
You think it's because they don't see the realism in it, and maybe they can sense inauthenticity, and then
I think it's because it doesn't connect them, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't give a fuck about Beowulf. You know what I mean? Like respect to Beowulf, respect to Billy Shakespeare, my man. You know what I mean? But like I don't give a fuck. Well, I don't. Why am I learning? Primarily, the only poetry I'm learning is like Beowulf, which is like Old English translated into English. And then you got Shakespeare. Like we should cover those topics, but also like you can't give me any poetry from the 20th century. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that can relate to me and my experience. I guarantee you, my friend Cord Moreski, who I brought up before, he's a poet and he's also a teacher. He teaches contemporary poets in his class. Mm. And what he's found is like the kids love it because there's poetry for them. They hear things about being depressed, about going through things, stuff like that. Right?
Yeah.
But like Beowulf, I'm not gonna fight. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put on a sheet of armor and go like defend the kingdom, you know, like right? Like it just doesn't connect. And that's because our school systems just haven't been updated, you know?
Yeah.
And what it's led to is like our generation that's like our parents were like, go to college, do all these things, follow your dreams. And I don't know about you guys, but when I got to that age, my mom was like, I said go to college. I mean, I didn't say we had money for you to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Like, it's short living. It's people extorting wealth and it's people not paying attention. Now people are realizing that you look at other societies like China and shit, right? They put this like view in the youth and that's why they're leading in STEM and all these different things. My school, I went to Keyport. You know what I mean? Like much love to Keyport. I had some amazing teachers, but I don't know what I learned. Because I was already reading shit, you know. I went there to write in class. There was a place to sit. I could fuck around on my phone and play Mafia Wars, you know.
Yeah. Back in the day. Oh
back in the Dizzy.
Yeah, you know? Like even with us when we were in school, like we were like I remember I used to get in school suspension, and
Yeah.
and I would have it like an all day in school suspension. You remember this? You remember this? I was in there with John, and John and we just write stories that we would record like after school. Like I would just be in there writing a whole bunch of different stories and everything like that, trying to do whatever to get me to go by, because that's the stuff that I like to do. That was the stuff that I wanted to be doing instead of be sitting there doing like listening to the things that I didn't want to learn, being with kids that I didn't want to be with for the most part. And I would rather have done something else. And if they had taught us something that was at least relative to something that I wanted to learn, then it would have been better. That's why I really like TV production, because I was really into the storytelling and all that stuff. And
So
when
you guys do all those like movie things,
we used to do all those movie things back in the day. And like we're still kind of doing it because we're doing the channel.
We do review movies like when it has like important lessons that can be learned in real life, which there are many. The Godfather is a great example of so many lessons in that movie that pertain to real life.
Goodfellas.
And Goodfellas.
Oh my God, there's so many different movies that we can even that we can do for video content purposes. But like if the school systems just really took a step back and looked at their curriculums that they have and did some sort of reform on it to make it updated, and even just let I would say even let teachers like fix it. But even some of those teachers, I don't feel like would,
but a lot
would
of
do
it's
a good
also
job.
underfunding.
Oh,
right?
well, yeah.
When I found out, like,
forget it.
What teachers are paid, you know what I mean?
Oh, they're paid next to dirt.
In some areas it's better than others, you know what I mean? But on the same note, it's like
at least they get unemployment on the summer.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, listen, I don't know what the problems are. I know what the problems are. I don't know what the solutions are, and like hopefully there was more competent people somewhere who could figure this whole thing out. One would hope.
Yeah.
But it's just like the way it is, and that's why like things are the way they are. But they didn't prepare us for this. They prepared us to work jobs. But guess what? Update, homie. Jobs are going away. AI is going to take over everything. And having people on job sites, it's a liability, right? Because people get hurt. Machines don't get hurt. They just break down, right? And what's going to happen is I don't know when it's going to be. It might be 10 years, 20 years, 100 years.
I've heard people say that we will have 90% of AI generated content in the next, I think, 4 to 5 years. 90% of the content generated will be made from AI.
That's crazy.
I've heard that's what a lot of people are saying, especially a lot of people that are like in the government, like not government, but like high status people are saying that AI generated content is going to be the majority of content.
It's going to be interesting. So there's already those AI art apps, right? They make art.
I just seen one just recently.
There's like an app. I don't know if it's
like
out yet,
but
you could upload a discography for your band, like Blink-182.
Yeah.
And it'll listen to it, and then it'll make new Blink-182 songs. Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what's going to happen when we realize, right, that artistry, right, creating poems and music and different things, because the story of the human is completely being humbled, right? So we pop up and we go, we're the center of the universe. And they go, we're not really the center of the universe. They go, okay, we're the center of the solar system. And they go, Galileo, we're going to burn you. No, we're not. We are. The sun is. And then it's like, okay, we were born in the shape of God, and God's this dude in the cloud. And then it's like, it's not looking very likely. And now what are we going to learn? That art and creativity is not a human concept either. That this is just the way neurons and things interact together and different things, that machines can make sophisticated art as well.
And sometimes even make it better than most.
Yeah. That's a scary thing to go through, right? The idea, obviously, it'll probably help supplement people where people can make their own things, but art will probably be personified. Like, how back in the day you would walk around with a radio, you play CD players, you hang out, listen to music.
I still walk around with a speaker all the time
on the bus.
I just see you walk around with a big boom box, like.
We don't have comment this.
There's a comment. Let's see. Loving all the tour stuff, Damian. It's incredibly inspiring.
Who said that?
Lazinda.
Appreciate it, my brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the support, guys.
One day I'm gonna make it out to California and see you, dude. I'm gonna come out there. I haven't been to the West Coast yet.
Also, anyone who was on the Instagram live, if you want to go over to YouTube, do show. It might be a little bit better audio for you guys. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Anybody on the Instagram live. Also, if you have any questions or comments to Damian, you can ask him through the live chat and he will answer them live on stream. So if any questions you have for Damian, he will answer you guys. We are paying attention.
Yes.
So tell us how you work out your
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Only fat dude on this fitness podcast. I mean, represent.
We're gonna do a 90-day transformation with Damian. It is coming. We're gonna make him work out. He's gonna lose over. We're gonna make it happen.
He will become Giga Chad in 90 days.
Guaranteed.
And then I'm just like, yo, fuck poetry, bro.
Fuck this shit.
I just care about gains.
Damian is now a fitness expert. He is now a fitness expert on YouTube.
So what are you saying?
How do you balance out your performance life and doing poetry with your day job? So let's talk about
that. Simple solution, gentlemen. Listen, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna say it out loud now. If your life has no direction, don't follow me, because I quit my job. So what happened was this: I host the top 9 poetry shows in New Jersey. I do a lot, right? It grew quickly, it grew crazy. The doc thing, all this shit was going on, and I was cutting meat at a certain corporation. You know what I mean? They shall not be named. Fuck ShopRite. Oh, sorry, it slipped out. I already quit 5 times.
Yeah.
This was my 6th time. I used to quit and go on tour, right?
Yeah.
It's my 6th time, and they were like, "You got to work at night." I was like,
"No,
I got seniority," and I just got fired from them. They rehired me because we made a TikTok video at work, bro. I've never had a TikTok video get more than 1,000 plays, and this TikTok video went viral. And somebody sent it to the vice president of ShopRite, sent it to his email.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I hope that happens to me one day.
Fired, right? And it was like, I don't ever do shit at work. You know, I'm over here wasting company time.
So that's how it happened.
Yes, they fired me. I came back.
Oh.
And I worked for a couple months, and they were like, "Dude, you got to work at nights. They don't want to hire nobody else." And I said, "If you do that, I will quit." And I called out 2 days in a row. And they fixed my schedule and they brought it back. And I said, "Suck my dick." And they said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Suck my penis." And I walked right off the job and quit on the spot. Because,
That's a good way to go out.
You know, the thing is this, man. It's like, obviously it wasn't the best financial move for me. But on the same note, I feel in my heart that what I'm doing now and what I have been doing for the last year is what I'm supposed to be doing in this moment in time. And I have this weird view.
That's some real talk.
That if I do the right thing, which means that like I'm busting my ass. Okay. I hustle all day long. I'm on the phone with poetry promoters across the country, all day. And I'm hosting these shows, and then I got to promote the shows, book the shows, right? Then I got my own work. I'm doing poetry. I'm doing different things. I was like, if I do what I'm doing right, the universe or whatever will show me the way. It'll be right. And it has been. Right. And there's been times that are rough, but guess what? I'm real good at having money, boys. And I'm real good at being poor too. You know what I mean? We make do. My girl makes magic out of canned goods. Like, I figured out, but the thing is this, like, when I smell blood, I don't stop. Like, I go for it. So like, after Missouri, I was all depressed. I was all beaten up and heartbroken. And I was like suicidal and shit. And then I realized that like, I've never tried. That I told myself I had tried for years of doing things, and I never tried. And by try, I mean putting my entire soul and energy, all of my being, into this thing. Said, let me give it a try. And if it doesn't work, whatever, I'll call it a day. And I did put my whole thing in there and just like moving forward. So something's going to come out of all of this. I'm gonna be the most fascinating homeless dude you ever met in your life, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'll have a tent set up right over there.
We got a comment. Let me see what it says. My man, it's from Joshua Fink Poet. My man, keep making us douchebags look good.
My man, Josh Fink. That's my boy right there. Remember when I said at the people who were in the scene who were nice to me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So Josh Fink, he has more time in the scene. He was the Rev Lounge dude down in Tom's River, and like him and a couple others were like super good to me when I started. So like, always respect, much love, Josh Fink. You know what I mean?
Always respect the real ones. Always love those.
You always got it. You always got it. It's the way it is, like. But anyway, my point is this: like, currency isn't just monetary. That's a big mistake a lot of people make. They think, poets come on the scene and be like, I only do paid shows. First of all, to get a paid poetry show is like incredibly rare. The top poets in America read in universities, and students show for free. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I've been paid to do poetry shows. I'm very fortunate. I've been paid. The shows I host are all free, totally free. Anyone can enter. I'll never monetize the shows because it's a working class thing. It's for the community. And the Renaissance itself, the hosting thing, it's not, this was a gift in my view. This was me contributing back to the community that made me. And when I showed up, it was decimated because the pandemic, I left, all these different things happened. So I was like, let me build this up. Right. So, but currency is not all monetary. So like influence is currency, right? Social awareness is currency, brand, all these different things. But people don't think about that. So like while I'm not making mad money right now, I'm not, I'm figuring it out. I'm swinging. You know what I mean? My career's at the height it's ever been, and like hopefully something will come out of this if I keep pushing. If not, I'll just go back to ShopRite. You know what I mean?
make another TikTok.
Easy. Make another, it is what it is.
It must have been a huge step making say, hey, I'm done. Like it must have taken a lot of guts to make that decision, because a lot of people, they want to quit their job and pursue like their passion in life and what they really want to do, but they don't know where to go. They don't have a plan. They don't have any organization, and they're fearful. Like, what would you say about that?
You don't need a plan. You don't make your appointment with destiny. You just make sure that you show up. Right. So like the thing is this is like too many people get caught up in the details. All right. And a lot of people have levels of comfort that they like to cocoon themselves in. The problem with comfort is that comfort keeps you comfortable. Right. Hang out on the couch. You're all nice and things are going good. Right. I always make a joke and I tell people, I'm like, if where's everybody at? They're probably at home watching Hulu on the couch. If I had a couch, I'd probably be home watching Hulu too. You know what I mean? But I don't. That's why I'm here. And the thing is this, that if you want something and there's like, you're so full of comforts, your whole life's just like easy and smooth. Mm-hmm. You have safety nets. You're never going to jump. Because why would you jump? You don't know. It doesn't matter what's on the other side. You're good. You're safe. You got it. But when you don't, right? Why not? And exactly. That's been my thing. So like, I've been blessed by poverty, but no, like, I grew up rough, man. My mom,
know where you came from.
My mom did the best she could for me, but like, listen, like it hasn't been easy. Right. But the thing is is that I could have let those things hold me down and hinder me. But like, when you don't got those comforts, right. Instead of crying about it, you could say, fuck you, watch me. I always tell people, I was like, yo, if you've seen the world I came out of, even the world I'm like where I'm living now, where I've lived in the past, like just trying to make by, you'd be like shocked at what I was doing. Right. Because like, if I had, if I had the whole setup, if I had this like a beautiful place and everything was safe and comfortable and ready, would I be as hungry and going as hard as I am now? Probably, but I'd be happier too. But the thing is, I'm being real, but the thing is this, right? Like, it is a motivating factor, right? And like, it's just like, I think that a lot of people are just scared to jump, right? And they're also scared of society's judgments.
Right? That's a big one.
What if I do this? People will think of me this way, right? It could be very intimidating.
Yeah. When I was in Keyport, where I grew up a month or two ago, and somebody who I went to school with came over to me and said, Damian, because I've quit my job many times. I bounced around, moved to Missouri. I was torn. I thought I was like a fat Jack Kerouac, bro. On the road, I was doing it. And they said, this person told me that like, we used to look at what you were doing and be like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like, what's he doing? Is he an idiot? And she's like, none of us are saying that now. And that was like, to me, I didn't care. I was like, whatever, man. But the fact that like I can show people what I feel in my heart now is that I can show people that there's no excuse. Right. So like, I'm not some skinny, beautiful, ripped dude. Right. I don't come from money. I don't have these safety nets. I don't have many of these privileges that a lot of folks do, but I'm still swinging. I'm swinging hard. So a lot of people who are like, dude, I never thought I could do that because of X, Y, and Z. Hopefully I can show them that like, you can, you just got to work harder. But by working harder, like just do it. Like, yeah, there's people who like don't write poems. They don't read poems and they just write bullshit and they sell mad copies because they're fucking beautiful. Right. They just pull their tits out. And they get 4,000 clicks.
I'd be evil.
Oh, I'd be the worst. I'd be the worst.
Yeah. Oh, we got some comments. We got some comments out here. We got some comments. Let's see. What is that? Dwight Ryder?
That's damn right.
Yo, D Wright. Sorry. Good sir. Can't wait to do it up in St. Louis on January. Much love to the NJ Poetry Renaissance.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and again, good sir. Oh, it's the same thing.
Much love, my man.
Yeah, guys. Once again, if anyone has any questions or comments to go to Damian, you could ask it in the Instagram live. You can put it in the chat, and we will answer it for you guys. Also, you can check out the All Games Mindset YouTube channel for those of you who are watching on Instagram. All Games Mindset. Check it out here. You might like the audio a little bit better. Once again, any comments or questions will be answered on live stream here.
Yes.
Yeah. He's got to swing, you know?
What would you do if your girl said, Damian, I don't want you to do poetry anymore?
Let me tell you a funny story.
Hit me.
My ex-girlfriend was like that.
Okay.
That's so me and Mike, we know each other because we dated sisters. Now we didn't do it. Wasn't like like we met up and like, that's hey, you see them sisters over there? Let's go. No, I was dating this chick, and then I met Mike because Mike started dating her sister. Right, that's how we got acquainted.
Yeah,
but she was not supportive, right? And she didn't understand why I wanted to go out to these bars, why I wanted to go out to these open mics and bomb and like be upset, and like she didn't see the vision. She didn't have foresight. So my girl now, Rebecca Weber, she's a poet in the scene, amazing poet.
Shout out.
Yeah,
shout out. One of the best poets in America, I'd say. Which sucks when she's bad at me because like there's nothing worse in this life, as a side note, than when someone does a poem about how you're a piece of shit and it's your show. It's gonna be like, all right, guys, keep it going. You know, like you're crying, you're wiping a tear away. But I told her straight up, right before we started dating, and it must have looked peculiar to her because it's 2015. I just got hit by a car. Okay. I'm like immobilized from the waist down. I have done a couple open mics in my life, but nothing crazy. I looked at her, I go, hey, listen, just a heads up. If you want the white picket fence with the green grasses, you know what I mean? I'm not the guy.
If you want the dog catch,
I was like, if you want your 20s to be a crazy fucking time and see the 20s, that's me, because I am unequivocally no compromising, which, you know, there's compromise always, but I mean, like, it was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And of course, and at the time, she was all like, you know, romance. And she's like, oh, it's exciting, you know, and like, but I told her straight up, that's who I am, what I'm doing. And I won't compromise that. I did for years when I was with my ex, when I was in my early 20s and late teens. And no, you know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't work, if my lifestyle doesn't work, then we have to talk about that and we have to figure out, you know. But it's funny because like right before I started doing all this shit again, you know, we had some real adult talk. Like, hey, listen, we just had to leave Missouri. You've been doing this shit for a long time. Like both of us have, and like hasn't really shown much fruit. You know, I had some intention. Yeah. And then I looked at her and like, remember what I said in the beginning of the podcast? If you tell me I can't do something, it's just a lot.
Well, now
yeah. So then now flash forward to the height of the Renaissance and the PBS film crew and doing all these different things. I was like, I told you. She's like, you stumbled into this shit. And like with me, it's like, that's how it is. If you believe in something, you can't, unless you're like, here's the deal. There's people who have to like take care of like sick family members, something like that, right? Those things are different.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do what you got to do for yours. But if that's not the case, you don't have kids, right? What's stopping you? Oh, well, my girlfriend doesn't like it. Get a new girlfriend.
Well, get a
right? Get it. It's 2022. You know what I mean?
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. That's my point, right? But they'll use it as an excuse. Well, my girl doesn't like it when I go out. I'm like, well, if she loved you, then she would support you in pursuing your dreams. Or are you just telling me that as an excuse to not do your thing?
A lot of time I would say just an excuse. People could, I mean, you have a gun to your head saying don't go out tonight? No.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, listen, like the last year has been the craziest year of my life. Most eventful year. But obviously with this level of explosion of people coming out to things and craziness and stuff like that, my personal life took a hit. You know what I mean? Like things got all fucked up. When anything gets amplified in front of an audience, anything at all, right? The good, the bad things, like a fight that'd be simple or a simple misunderstanding or this and that. When there's 60 people in the room, it changes. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it's all about doing it, but I think it's all about you. It's all about doing what you can do. If you're straight up and like, and I'm not giving people an excuse to be like, dip out on their pregnant girlfriends to go on the road and be like, no. Like you have responsibilities. You got to do what you got to do. Right. But on the same note, like if you want something, you're straight up and you communicate, like you got to get it. There's no one to blame except for you. You know,
everyone needs to take personal accountability and
definitely
responsibility for their lives.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to affect them.
Yeah. That's why I'm not having kids. If one pops out, like, oh, that's crazy.
Do you want kids?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because I don't want to be one of you dirty breeders. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're gonna have
Talk
kids.
about your thoughts on people having kids or you having kids. A little bit of both.
Here's the deal.
When should someone have kids?
As soon as that, no. Put them on the lines early. No, it's like my mom had me young. It's been downhill since. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I'm Uncle Damian.
How many siblings do you have?
I have an older brother. I have an older sister and a younger sister. Right. So it's like I don't know if I want kids, like maybe one day, but like I haven't achieved what I want to achieve yet. So why would I add additional responsibilities and additional things? And also like life hasn't been easy for me. Right. And like mental illness and my family and struggles and shit like that. So I won't bring a kid into this world until I can promise that I can give them a better life than I had. You feel what I'm saying? So like why would I, and if things happen, if I knock somebody up, something happens, you gotta do what you gotta do, or sneak that abortion in before it gets banned, right? Boom. But the thing is that like, I'm not gonna, I want to have a kid and then be like resentful.
Yeah.
That like, oh, I had to give up my dreams. No, then you got 18, 20 years with this thing. I support people having kids. It's great.
You have to be ready. You have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in the right headspace. You have to know what you want to do with your life. You need to know who you are.
Yeah. All my friends have kids, right? Like
I only have like one or two friends with kids.
They'll be like, I only have one or two friends. I'll be like, oh, we'll have to change this whole podcast stuff. Are you okay? Nah, it's maybe one day, but like I'm 30 and I don't have kids. I don't have the house, all those things, but like my 20s, dude, my autobiography is going to be lit. Because I've seen my 20s were full of laughter and friends and fun and chaos and love. And there was a couple of times where it looked like a Dare commercial. I'll be honest with you. Right. But, that's how I look at it. I haven't even put much thought in that idea. I've been engaged for 6 years. You know what I mean? Because we were going to do the thing. And then we're like, well, we got to go on tour first. And we're going on tour. Then I'm like, well, are we going to do this? And like,
So what are your thoughts on like marriage or you getting married? Or what's going on with that?
I think marriage is a weird concept.
Why?
Because it's an antiquated tool of monarchy to like acquire property. Like that's really what it starts off for. Like, I mean, no offense, bro. Congratulations on getting married, by the
way. Yeah, like marriage. Yeah, marriage is like weird, especially now because of now that the government is involved.
That's
and everything.
The thing.
It's
the idea. The idea of itself as a ritual.
Yeah,
is beautiful of bonding together. But really, forever, marriages were like because women were property. There was like this dowry and like monarchy. Like, okay, well, you're gonna marry that person. There was no love. You're gonna marry that person because they own this much land.
Yeah, like the parents would arrange and everything like that.
But I support happy marriages and I'm happy about it. But on the same note, like, why do I need? Oh, my phone's dying. Do you guys have a USB-C here? I don't need it right now. Just I'll figure it out. Paused. Oh no. Fuck it. So the thing is this, like, I'm not worried about it per se. Like marriage is a cool thing, I guess, but it's not a destination for me. Mm-hmm. I don't get into relationships to like one day we might get married. That's not even my thought process. Like if I love you, I love you. And love the ones you're with and do the thing. But like people look at this like some Cinderella shit, like marriage and all this big ceremony. Like if I do have a wedding, it's gonna be the most debaucherous, chaotic thing in the world.
Make sure it's cheap. Because that shit's fucking expensive, bro. This shit's fucking expensive.
Let me tell you that. I'm not trashing on weddings. Just saying, it's not really
Yeah, my idea
interesting.
of like marriage is like I like the concept of it. I just don't like the way we do it today. Sign the contracts, government stuff. It's kind of risky for if you have an unstable relationship and you're getting married, probably should not sign that.
Is that live again?
Yeah, and you're
Yeah,
it's
it
live.
is.
You're just black and white.
Black and white. Well, not black and white in the live. I'm looking at his.
And
But
then, if anyone on the Instagram live experiences troubles, you can go to the All Games Mindset YouTube channel and you could watch him there as well. It might be better audio. You can also ask him any questions if you want or make any comments. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. So
yes,
thanks, guys.
do it. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So it's like, oh, dude.
I think I said that.
Very good thing you said that.
Yeah, that was quick.
That was quick. All right.
So we're still on YouTube. We're still on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, oh yeah, my phone got hot. So
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot as hell.
Couldn't handle it.
So, I don't look at those things. The traditional idea of getting married and like that's cool, but why do I need the fucking government to justify my love?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
how I feel.
I don't like that way either. And I'm the one that's
it's different when it comes to like sharing benefits, man, and
yeah.
the kids and things like that. Like that's important. That's why the contracts are important, but like it's not my thinking right now.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was gonna see 30. I'll be honest with you. I was living wild. So like, now that I'm 30, I'm like, oh, I can't die young anymore. Now I got to think of the future.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I've passed 27. Now it's that club is
it's
gone.
It's not cool to die anymore. So I got to keep moving on. I can still go down like Elvis in a hotel room, fat and constipated. That's still a possibility.
Yes.
I always tell people that if we're on tour and I go down in the bathroom, you just got to get me off the toilet. That's the only rule. You know what I mean? I can't go down like Elvis. Bad for fat people. It's a bad look. It's not good.
It's definitely not. That throne is not meant for that.
No.
Who would you say like inspired you to start doing poetry?
I discovered poetry from remember that VH1 used to have music videos?
Yeah.
Right. So my grandma used to watch me, and she wouldn't let me watch VH1 because Chris Cornell, an audio slave, was really common at the time, and he kind of looked like my father. She hates my father. She hated my father, right? So I wasn't allowed to watch. I like to watch in the back bedroom. So after the music video, sometimes in the morning early, they would play Def Jam Poetry, which was this poetry series that was on. And I was like, oh, that's interesting and cool. And then, music, man. I got into fucking punk rock, and I played in a bunch of shitty bands, and like writing lyrics, and like song lyrics have always hit me, like it's always been the thing. And I made the good decision to get my band's name tattooed on my arm a day before my band broke up. Shout out. That's the move. That's the power move. Ladies love that. They're like, what's up with that tattoo? Be like, oh, it says no faith. It's about like doubting life and all those things. And it's really this band that I thought was going to make it at 18, but and that's the thing, right? So it's kind of like I was inspired by so many different people. Like my performance style itself comes from, other poets I've seen, from musicians, from comedians, and from like preachers. I don't know why. I was living in the arts residency, and I saw this guy I lived with. He was crazy. Fantastic artist. One of the best painters. But like he was nuts. Thought he was Jesus and shit like that. And he would make me watch these like Southern Baptist videos. And I didn't care about that shit. He's like, they're curing people's cancer by touching them. And I'm like, that's not real. But I'd watch the way they would talk and their command of the room and how they would talk. And that's where a huge part of my performance styles come from. That way of like dragging out the things and like holding chord, and like it comes from that. So really it's like a combination of all these different things that I've done, and observed. And that's the part being the artist, man. You absorb from the world and bring it in,
Yeah.
Now, actually, for people who are wondering, let's go into a poem and have you read one.
That's actually really funny. You read my mind, to be fair.
Might be able to do it, but I'm glad you got it there. Maybe I'll do it off the dome. So this is I just put out a chat book.
Live exclusive.
I just put out this chat book called "And Even If I Did, So What?" Okay. It's a poem I got, and I preface when I'm on stage, like, when like you're hanging out with a group of people and like you leave the group or you whatever, and they all start talking shit about you, and you can't defend yourself because it's all true. And worse, they don't even know half the shit you did. This is the poem. I guess you have me figured out. I never shot the sheriff, but I sure as hell broke the toilet. I've prowled empty streets for baggies of white trash divine. I've breathed the Atlantic and I've cursed the sky. I played Robin Hood so we could eat, and I'm not sorry I'd do it again. I've chased country sunsets without ever once thinking to look back towards home. I went searching for myself and I got lost. I've quit every job I've ever had. I've spit in the face of convention and paid the price of your own indignation. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. My shoes have worn down from running away. I swing for home runs every chance that I get. I know one day I'm going to hit the ball. I've rolled my boulders up and down suburban hills and searched for honest men at twilight. I traded my teeth just to get off. Can you believe it? My tooth fairy is a tweaker with a heart of gold. I made best friends in fist fights and buried the myths I held sacred in unmarked graves in Indiana. I've been rich in fleeting moments and so poor, I couldn't afford to pay mind to any of your concerns. I lost faith in myself and I found it right where I left it, under all of my baggage. I walked into the belly of the beast and I came out with the motherfucker's head in my hands. What I'm really trying to say is I don't regret a thing. Bam! Mic drop. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That was good.
I didn't even need the reference.
Yeah.
You already know it.
Yeah, it's so really this past year for my work has been developing my own voice, right? Like really like owning in on what Damian Rucci's poetry is and my style.
What would you say your style is?
Drunk and drugged and fucked up on a Monday night. That's the genre. Nah, I'd say, I tell people it's blue collar bar songs, man, of love and struggle and finding honor, right? And even the most benign things and, doing things and finding worth in the mundane, right? And it's just a mix of things. And like my style is like people hear poetry and they don't get it. And they see me do the thing. And I'm like, I got energy. I'm up there. I'm swinging, right? And I opened a comedy show. So you see comedians on poetry shows now. You don't see a lot of poets on comedy shows.
Yeah.
So I performed at my buddy John Kirshner's. He has a show called Applejack's Comedy at Applejack's in Keensburg. Right? Everyone in there looked like they had tried to fight a cop at one point or another. Right? And I said to all of them, I was like, yeah, you hear there's a poet on the bill tonight? And everybody was like, oh shit, like, really? Totally not into it. And like I had some people who came out who saw my name on the flyer, but I went up there, dude, and I did 10 minutes on stage and I fucking murdered the room. And everyone was like, I didn't know that was poetry. And I was like, exactly. Right? Because like my thing is about you might not like my work, you might not relate to it because you grew up in a different environment, different life, but people will. And there's people for everyone. It's about the exposure of it. So with my style, I just call it blue collar bar songs, man. Like, I'm up there, I'm doing the thing. This is my life experience. This is how I view the world, my thoughts, and even if I did, so what? That's really what it is. It doesn't matter. Just the style I've fallen into, but dude, I've done well over this point, like 1,200 featured shows. Been on stage thousands of times. I've performed in like 20 states. So I put some legwork in, to find this voice. And the big deal was balancing it on the page and in person, right? So like if you read it on the page and you see it in person, it complements each other, right? It makes sense that it's written the way it's spoken. But I had to find my voice, and that's really just been my artistic endeavor. And I think I finally hit my stride now where I'm like locked in, and that's how I swing it.
It kind of gives me that this is gonna be weird. I don't know how you guys are gonna take that, but how you said that with the blue collar bar songs, it kind of like thinks of it as like the Clerks of poetry. I think it was like the Clerks version of poetry, or the poetry version of Clerks.
Yeah, well, it's the same idea, right? Yeah. So we're all saying the same things. We're just saying them in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. That's why like Punk and Poetry is one of the shows I got. We mixed punk rock and poetry. That worked amazingly, right? Mad people came out, did the thing. The punk kids were doing shit. The kids who came out just to see the punk bands were like, whoa. They love the poetry aspect because it's all the same thing. It just said differently, So it all works. And I just think that my thing is this, that I think that my class, right? And America doesn't have classes. Yes, it does. I mean, if you see the way an upper class person lives versus a working class person, it's jarring. And like George Carlin used to say, there's only like two classes that matter, right? It's the rich and the middle class, and the poor are just there to scare the shit out of the middle class to keep working, right? But there's honor in everything, you know, and things mean things, right? I think moments do last forever. The good, the bad, nothing's as fleeting as we think it is. And so the good you give, the good you receive, the love you share is forever, right? You feel it, you know, like you can reflect back when you're a young man and you think of the things you did and like the fun times. Like there's moments in my life I reflect back on and just smile, you know? And like that's how I feel about sharing the poem and finding the words and like bringing that, because like I'm like I talk to these dudes and they're like, yeah, poetry's gay, it's this and that, and then I show them one of my poems, they're like, oh, that wasn't poetry. I'm like, yeah, it was.
That's why it works.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's really the move of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like the new air quotes new style of poetry. Like you don't need the whole, I mean, rhyme schemes now, since we're so far away from it, you can play with it.
Sure.
You could play with that around and
There's
make it work.
For that.
Yeah, you could play around with it, make it work. Slant rhyming and all these other intricate things you can do with rhyming, but you don't need to use that. And if you know your voice and you know what you want to put on the page and you know how to perform like you have found, you can turn poetry into something insane.
Sure. And like my thing is just like I use sublinear rhymes all the time in my work. You know, I have this one poem. It's like, as above, so below. You're not so different though. You know what I mean? Like I will use rhyme inside the line itself, right? But it's not like an end rhyme where it's not like, she went to the park. It was very dark in Asbury Park.
Some crazy stuff is happening.
I think you're getting robbed. But
anyone watching this right now,
someone's getting trashed in the other room.
There's a spider cricket somewhere out there.
It is a live exclusive. Right?
Fuck
yeah, live exclusive.
Yeah, spider cricket.
Yes, my wife is
spider cricket.
My wife is fighting a spider cricket outside this door as we speak. She is in battle right now. She
gets thrown through the door. I'm like, dude, the spider cricket's winning.
The man's got to come out and fight now.
But nah, you know, really, it is like this. It's like you can't say you failed, right, until you've given it your all. But most people don't give it their all, and they think they do. And that's how I was for a long time. I was like, I'm not really trying that hard until this year. This year, I'm going like hard body, dude. Like,
yeah, you're going full sprint.
Well, you need to go. Everyone has their own journey, and you need to go through certain things in order to keep, in order to evolve. That's how it goes. You're not going to end up perfect automatically. You're not going to automatically find your style that works for you. It takes time. It takes some learning. A lot of learning, but that's what makes the journey fun. If everything was just perfect automatically, if you just woke up and you were rich, you would not appreciate it as much as if you were poor and then you had to work up to being rich.
I'm going to stop you there. If I woke up and I was rich, I'd be happy as shit, bro. You know, I'd be balling.
For a few months. But the
thing is, but the thing is with being rich, it just enables you to do the things that you have always wanted to do.
It's freedom tokens.
Yeah.
That's what money really is.
It's freedom.
Like freedom tokens.
Well, I mean, it's like, well, if someone said, all right, Damian, you can become rich, but you have to give up poetry. Like, what if they clash?
Oof.
That's what I mean. Exactly. That's what I mean.
I become a magician real quick. Fuck words, bro. You give me $5 million, dog. You'd be surprised, bro.
No, like
I'll make this shit disappear right now.
Shit.
A magical contract, like Damian, you can be here's $1 billion, but you're not allowed to go to a mic ever again. You're not allowed to do poetry. You're not allowed to write.
I'd probably cry about it a lot when I was inside my fucking mansion. You know what I mean? Like, but no, but joking. Obviously, like, I couldn't live without my art, and like that's who I am. But on the same note, it's like there was that one viral tweet. It was like, people say money doesn't buy happiness, right? But it's a lot easier to cry inside of a Mercedes. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely is, right? Like, and that's the thing where, like, I do think that there are certain things like I wouldn't have the drive, right? But the drive, that's makes me want more and more and more. And it's not just for monetary things. Obviously, if I was trying to get into the money game, I wouldn't be going through poetry, right? Where I'm literally building this thing up. I would have picked a more lucrative field. That's
most
what
people want to pick the stable thing that works. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stay safe here, but then there's people who just can't do it. They need to go what they got to do no matter what.
The problem is that safety is all relative, right? So you might pick a safe career field, and then there might be like a war or a natural disaster, something happens,
or lockdown,
or like everything gets changed, right? And so it's about thinking on your feet. So you could do all the right things, and you could go to college, you could get the job, right? Get the house, do everything that makes mommy and daddy proud, right? And then something could happen that completely ruins that.
mm-hmm.
And if that's all you had, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna think about? Right? So it's like, I do think that like money, it would be great just to achieve a certain level of stability for me, right? Where it'd be cool to have my own spot again, live in a place, crash out, you know what I mean? Have some shit to fuck off with. But on the same note, like, you have to sacrifice to get what you want. Not everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have like, they're very fortunate with the way the world works, but some people you gotta sacrifice. How much blood, how much flesh you willing to leave on the table? Most people won't even do it, you know? And like, I've given up a lot, and you know, I could be working. I'm a working man, dude. I work 70 hours a week. That's my big trick. How come I can give this corporation that's underpaying me, doesn't give a shit? How come I can give them 70 hours a week of my time, but I can't give it to myself? Right? I can't work on my own things. That's because of like being responsible, right? It's about like my accountability and like making myself work. And that's why hosting the shows, I have to, right? If I don't do it, people are going to show up like, what the fuck's going on? Why is there no show tonight? You know what I mean? Like there's public accountability and things like that. So it's been good, but also like, I do know that like the level I'm working at right now is not forever because I'm hosting way too many shows. I host more poetry shows than
it's
anybody.
going to build up.
Yeah, but I mean like the hosting where it's like the hosting is I'm giving shows away to people because I built this up. I built up the base. It's all here. Here's a show. I'm giving it to people who are willing to step up from the scene. But I can't do it for another year because I host more shows than anybody else in America for like poetry. You mean like most people, they might host 2 shows, the crazy people. I was hosting 10 at one point, right? That's 10 series every month. Most of them are twice a month, right? So like that's a lot, dog. That's a lot. And like don't get me wrong, like I pulled it off, but everyone's like, you can't, you're gonna burn out, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And like I didn't burn out. If I worked harder. That was the thing. Like
that's how you know you really want it.
When the PBS thing started, all these other things started happening, and NJ Indies, this magazine, shout out to Connor, they did a huge write-up about us in this on their website, and then they put it in print. And it's in 140 locations around Jersey, this newspaper. I have a 2-page spread in there. And all that attention and those kind of things, a lot of people would have slowed down. They would have said, well, I don't have to work as hard now because I'm getting all this attention already. Not me. I worked even harder. You know what I mean? You keep leveling up, right? Like, boom, boom, boom. That's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, that documentary's coming out in February, but that's not my art.
Yeah.
That's somebody else's art about me, right? And me and my scene. So it's like, I can't determine what will happen when that airs. It could be life-changing. It could just increase my visibility, or nobody could see it at all. So why leave my career and my destination to chance when I could just put my head down and just work my ass off? So by February, I'm already going to be way ahead of where I am right now, right? If it whatever happens, and anything else that does happen is extra and bonus.
Yeah, because
right?
you can't control what will happen with that either.
No.
You don't know, and so you have to do the things on your own.
Exactly.
And if things do happen, if things go positively after it comes out, then that's great.
Yeah.
But you can't just wait on it and see if it does. You just have to keep going.
Just keep going. That's what my thing was. You know, I look at it. I look at it as work. I put my head down and I do the thing, right? Book, promote, go to the shows, host the shows. And there are times I don't want to do it. There are times I'm depressed. I'm fighting with my girl, whatever. It's a bad day. But guess what? I got to go to work. I got to do the thing. I couldn't tell my boss I can't come in today. I'm depressed. You know what I mean? It was the meat department. He'd smack me and call me a Nancy boy. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I do the thing. And I just think that like I've learned that like I can, like I tell everybody this all the time. I was like, you can be prettier than me. You can be more talented than me. You could have more money than me. but ain't not a single motherfucker I know is gonna outwork me, because like I'll go hard, I'll lose everything, and I'll just still keep going. And that's just like my work ethic's like that. It's like bah nonstop, and I'm thankful for it. You know what I mean? But also it's hard too because I've learned how to make space. Right? We're like tomorrow I'm hanging out. Right? It's just my girl's like, hey, we're hanging out tomorrow, we're chilling. Right? But in my head, it was like, I'll just keep going. You know what I mean? Like nonstop, do the work, do the thing. And so I make space for myself now and learning how to have that balance where it's like, it's okay for me to hang out and play video games. Right. But I was so worried because I was stagnant for so long after the pandemic, like a year, dude. I was just depressed, getting fucked up, all heartbroken.
A lot of people were.
And I'm so afraid that if I stop working the way I am now, that I'll stop moving, because I didn't do anything for a year, and like I was literally like afraid to touch the keyboard. Do you know what I mean? Like this weird, like uncomfortable and doing anything. So that's why my thing. Like I'm worried that if I stop moving, I'm gonna just like peter out. So eat your vegetables and swing for home runs. That's what I do.
Do you have like a routine that you do before every show to get you in the mood and in the zone, or are you the zone?
It's changed now. Where in the beginning there was a prep up time, music, I have the right music, the right things. But now I'm able to just switch it, right? Like
Just like that.
Yeah. So I can go from because like me publicly and privately, like I said before, is just me. But one's more exaggerated, not exaggerated, but like more public fashion. Like at home, I'm in my boxers, one of my nuts is hanging out, I'm chilling, right? But I'm a little bit better dressed in public, not always. Depends on the night, depends where you catch me,
Depends where you're going.
But now it's gotten to the point where it's just muscle memory. We're like, okay, we're going on at 7:30, boom, public, right? I'm doing the thing I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And like I have no stage fright anymore. I have none of that. I'm there, and it's a skill set because
you don't have any stage fright at all.
None.
Not many can say that.
Excited, right? Obviously, you get a little jitters at the crowd's big.
Oh yeah,
right. And like doing those punk shows, I do like sometimes just like my last show at the Mill Hill Saloon, Punk and Poetry #2. That was like 2 weeks ago, bro. We had so many people there that they couldn't all fit in the venue. You know what I mean? Like banger of a show. But now it's not worried. It's not nerves. I get nervous about turnout. I get nervous about hosting issues, right? Like my equipment isn't working.
I know.
This feature's late. This one's late. It's already 7:35 and the venue is like not being cooperative because of whatever issue. You know what I mean? Like that's what I worry about now. I'm not worried about being up on stage in front of people, but that's just because I've done it so often. That's why people always like, oh, you're lucky you could do this, you could do that. And I'm like, it's just working, just practicing. You know what I mean? Like
you've been doing it for years.
Yeah, for literally years.
Almost a decade.
Yeah,
almost a decade at this point. And so of course it's gonna get easy. A lot of people that don't do it either at all or not enough, of course they're gonna feel that way. And I mean that's gonna be the majority of people.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a hobbyist, which is great.
There's
some people who only come to the shows, dude, because like one Saturday a month they get a babysitter and they go out and they read a couple silly poems and they have fun, and that's awesome, right? But like if you really want to build a career with it and you're only going to pop out once a month, how are you ever going to get better?
Yeah.
You need a lot more time to practice and practice your skills.
But you can't all dive in. Some people can't dive in as deep, but like, the same person, you're performing once a month, twice a month. That's awesome. But then you got people who are performing 28 to 30 times a month. And think about the exponential rate of gaining experience and growth. It's a difference.
It really is.
It really is.
What are your thoughts? Because I've noticed it, especially recently. Because Medium and those online writing sites. Have you heard of the writing site Poetizer? I've heard about it recently.
I did. Okay, so here's the deal. It's like an app thing. I checked it out. Listen, it's 2022. I'm happy anybody is engaging in the art form of poetry, right? Even if I hate it. Okay. But like, it's cool for what it is. And
Yeah.
like, listen, it's building community, it's getting people to post their things, but a lot of it's just like people who've never written poetry before. They don't, understand the depth of it, and they're sharing their poems, dude. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
doing their things, and I think it's awesome. I dabbled in it a little bit, just throwing up some poems and like, but it doesn't really serve my needs,
Yeah.
right? But I think it's cool. I think it's a cool little thing.
I feel like I feel like it's a step in a direction that could be positive
I agree.
for the poetry scene in general.
I totally agree with that because like I talk a lot of shit. It's in my genes, But like I'll make memes, all the poetry memes, and I make fun of like some popular poets like Charles Bukowski and Rupi Kaur. And Rupi Kaur was the Instagram poet
Yeah, Ruby.
who
Yeah.
got super famous, right? And like, am I mad at Rupi Kaur? Absolutely not at all. Good on you, girl. You played the algorithm, you won the day. She's the best-selling poet ever, right?
Yeah.
Ever. And like, that's awesome. And like, yeah, those 2 million people, whoever bought her book, they're not going to read my work. However, they might pick up another book, right? So even though these are like people who would have found poetry, a lot of them are just girls and women on Instagram who followed her page, and now they're buying these books because they like her and they like her little affirmations. But now that's them being exposed to poetry. They would have never picked up a poetry book without Rupi Kaur. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, do I think that she's the greatest example of what poetics is? No, right? At all.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being like, hey guys, we're from America. Here's some American music. Here's In Sync, right? Like, definitely not the representation of
No.
what I think it should be. However, it's cool. More American music's getting out there, right?
Yeah,
Like, right, that's the thing.
Well, poetry's great too because it's releasing thoughts and releasing things in an organized but fun way as well. And a lot of people don't have others to talk to about their life, so poetry is a way of letting things out in a very healthy way, rather than getting violent, being someone. No, you're letting it through words and different ways of using words to your advantage, and also entertaining and also possibly educating as well, and just giving some good life.
It's good for private practice too. So a lot of people, you need. I always say keep it for your journal, right? Because like some people will like, they have trauma, they have issues they're going through,
and they will say it out loud.
Oh Lordy, listen.
In
I'm
every
thankful.
detail.
The open mic's holy, right? I said that before. Everything goes holy. But there's people get up there sometimes and they just like cry for 5 minutes, I'm like,
a lot of people don't have a lot of people to talk to. I'm telling you, we live in a world where a lot of people are afraid to share their thoughts. So when it does come out, it comes out.
Yeah. I never knew I had anxiety until I was older. I thought like I just was like a violent person. I would just get like, I was fighting and stuff like that when I was younger. Different man. I'm trying to be a Buddhist now. But like my fiance was like, dude, you have anxiety. That's why you get all pent up and then you freak out. Like, that's anxiety. I'm like, oh, really?
Oh, that's what that is.
I thought I was just growing up to be a terrorist or something. It's but no, it is good. It does serve that purpose too. And also, like, I think poetry's for everyone. It's for the beggar and the king, right? For everybody in between. And like, that's what my thing is. So yeah, I say working class shit all the time. But that's of the world I'm of. I'm of that concrete. I'm of that environment where like the rich people already have it. They already have the academics. They already have the MFA programs. They already have all those things, and good for them. But for my dudes who are sitting at the bar, they're never gonna walk into those realms. So like that's where I come in, and that's what I do, and I show them, boom, right? So I just think that like more people who put thought into word, the better. And not just word, music, everything.
Yeah.
Art's part of the human experience until AI proves us otherwise.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And then Chris Cornell, I'm coming, bro. You know what I mean? Like jumping out a window or something. I don't know.
Oof. It's Skynet. Skynet will come soon.
Not gonna be good.
No.
The future's gonna be a little interesting. Do you have any other poems? Do you know?
What?
Do you have another poem?
No, he gave me that one.
I could do one more.
I was gonna say let's give the audience a little taste of the life.
Yeah, give us another.
I'll give you one more.
We're gonna give you guys a final poem, and then we're gonna head out of here.
All right. Here, this poem's called this is a newer one. This is called, let me see if I can find it. This is called Here's Looking at You, Kid. Of all the beer joints in all the towns in all the world, you walked into mine. Here's looking at you, kid. Here's the walled gardens left to rot. Here's the sigils on the napkins of dirty bars on the Jersey Shore. Here's the cemetery drive, muffled from the wind of an eclipse at 90 mph. Here's to a setting sun on the backs of the wanderers waiting outside the hotel drunk. Here's the 2-bottle of Patron nights. Here's the backseat minutia. Here's the punk rock shows and sheds in the woods of Flemington, New Jersey. Here's the missing work, to misunderstandings, to half-truths, to stumble under sinister moons. Here's to you've never seen me sober before. Here's to everyone in Long Branch has got problems. You may be the one to sort yours out. Here's to I may be the only cause that I'm interested in. I never know which lines to cross or which to sniff. Here's to the boardwalk, the arcade, howling in the basements of New Brunswick. Church is in session and the priest has smashed his guitar. Here's to new beginnings and swan songs. Here's to I've heard your poems. I raised you a Bible of circumstance and clever words. Here's to friends and long nights. Here's to we may never have Paris, but we will have the basement, the Eiffel Towers and obelisk at the center of our pounding hearts. Here's the next time, kid. Bob.
Woo! A real poet of our time. Damian, where can people find you and how can they get to one of your shows?
Okay, so I host mad shows, as I said before. Every Monday, I host a show at Nip and Tuck in Long Branch. Okay. First and third Tuesday, I'm at Scarlet Reserve Room for Puff Puff Poems. You can smoke weed, drink beer, and hang out and listen to poetry, music, and comedy. It's dope. Thursday, we're in Keyport at the Keyport Funhouse. Second and fourth Thursday. First Friday, Pomacops now in Long Branch. Check my Instagram. You know what I mean? I got Brew. That's in Mattawan, first and third on Main Street. And you can find me at Instagram, Damian Rucci, Damian.
Link in the description below.
Yeah, link in the description. Don't put an E in there. You know what I mean? I'm a strong Damian. I got the strong A, you know? Not
Yeah.
the E. And Facebook. And I'm on Twitter and shit like that, but I don't really use it. Just Instagram and Facebook. I can't balance more than two, I've learned.
Twitter's a lawless land anyway. You don't want to.
Yeah, guys.
You don't wanna go
So
there.
definitely like the video if you liked it. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Leave a comment below and your thoughts on this epic podcast.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, thank you again.
Damian, for coming on. You
Appreciate it, boys.
You're
It's
always
always a pleasure.
You're
Always a
always
pleasure.
welcome on the podcast.
can't wait
Thank
for part
you.
3. All right, guys.
Yes.
With that said, we're going to see you guys in the next video.
Boom.